thank you for staying with us on Nigeria Decides on Plus TV Africa. We will start the program with the promotion of the INEC. Of course, we know that INEC has emphasized that politicians should not instigate violence during the general elections.
Most definitely. Mr. Bako is the Director of Media and Publicity of the Kaduna State People's Democratic Party Campaign Committee and was arrested after he was seen in a video 2 weeks ago telling a crowd at a campaign rally to, and quote, deal with whoever votes against the interests of the PDP. And joining us to discuss details of this, we have Martin Lombard, a political analyst. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have in our studio Rahman Adebi as well, the Lagos Chairman, Liberation Movement. Thank you very much.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Now, the issue, of course, David mentioned the case of Mr. Bako in Kaduna and what he was telling his supporters. I don't know if you saw that report, but then he wasn't speaking English. He was actually speaking his local language, but he was calling for war. He said, if you see anyone who doesn't want to vote for us or support our party, deal with them. Now, at this level and in this time, how far we have come as a country, do you think that this is what we should be talking about at this stage? Let me start with you, Roman.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy that Nigerians are now seeing the difference between the old school bloc and the new school bloc. And what do I mean? Old school bloc have a lot of followership that are not educated. And the new school bloc, what we stand for is a lot of awareness, a lot of education, a lot of entrenchment of our democracy. Knowledge is key in everything you do. For, you know, if I'm permitted to recommend, I would say that man should be behind bars right now for electoral violence. Because instigation of electoral violence starts way before the election. Because if you begin to prep people, the mind is a big space. Anything you fill it into it is what will be acted out in the pre-election, during the election, and post-election. So, and the environment in which he's saying this is a volatile environment that we have recorded incident in 2011 and in 2020.
And even before Saturday Eve, yes, there was a lot of violence. We know that according to the governor of Kaduna State, about 130 people died in Kaduna in pre-election violence. That's
about 2 days before the election. So when you find that people of this nature are not sensitive, they are not politically mature, then they should be kept behind bars. That's the honest truth. And the truth is, you can't find any of the new party who came on board now with a lot of excitement, with a lot of knowledge, doing all this. It means that we as politicians, we need to invest a lot in educating our followers, educating them to the do's and the don'ts. To, you know, you need to read the riot act to them. You need them to appreciate the electoral laws that we have. Don't be a follower without knowing your rights. Don't be a follower and push a lot of people ignorantly because the people is instigating, perchance they are not educated. Because if you're educated, somebody will not come to you and begin to instigate you to pick up arms.
Martins, this isn't the first time we're having such speech flying in the air, especially when we're in a political season. And at the end of the day, these actors are not first-time political actors. They understand how body language, how oral language, how every form of communication send waves of instruction. Now, they are pretty much clear as to what they say and they are not mincing their words. How much do you think this is a threat, a ticking time bomb to the elections just a few days away?
Okay.
2 days.
The truth is, if we want to be honest about this issue of electoral violence and instigation, we must understand that it is a system thing. If an individual or a group feels frustration or feels frustrated, chances are it begins to resort to unorthodox methods. Now, the president, if we go back in history, and even up till the last statement of ruthlessness, is a sign of not panic, but frustration. How do I mean? If you say that let us go in this route. We want to follow this channel to get to a destination. And for some reason, people behave as if they have blockheads. They want to go in the opposite direction. You begin to say, okay, let us go to the law courts and then find answers to this problem. You go to the law courts, you are also faced with another barrier. You cannot get justice unless maybe you can purchase it. These frustrations are the things that begin to manifest in body language and also in the statements that come out from politicians that people now interpret as a license to, generate violence. And it is a system thing. Like he said, education will help, enlightenment will help, but the truth is, if a system is not functional properly, you will find it difficult to exercise discipline. That is the truth of the matter.
Understanding the gravity of all of these sort of statements and actions, what then should we be doing? Because we understand that inciting violence is just as much as equally causing disruption that would be much more chaotic. So what level of implementation of punitive measures do you expect? Because you also made mention of the court of law, but
yes,
you can't hold any individual just yet.
But let me just give you this instance. This issue about deal with ballot snatchers ruthlessly, I don't want to say you lose your life. Let's leave that one. That one is extreme. But ruthlessly, it sends a signal. It gives somebody the impetus. Even if you didn't want to steal a ballot box before, you didn't want to snatch. Let me paraphrase. Apostle Paul says the reason for sin is because there is a law against sin. So when you use the word ruthlessness, somehow the mindset begins to attach to that crime. Having said that, if you follow the law helps you to solve a problem in the sense that, for instance, if we kill the ballot snatcher, we know really that it is not the ballot snatcher that is the problem, but the one who sent him. Now, if you kill the snatcher, chances are you will not get the real culprit, meaning that that crime will repeat itself. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So it is a system thing.
But we are not even having a chain. Now we have the individual actors making all of these pronouncements. What should we be doing to them at this point in time?
Very good.
Talking about legal and punitive measures.
I think the first thing is for us to understand the problem, the enlightenment, the orientation. Then, of course, we must get our laws to work. If people have been saying things, more extreme things before now, I dare say that even our number one citizen, the whole world, knows precisely his stand over certain issues. Like I said, it could be because of frustration. But having not suffered any consequence, that is why we are where we are today.
Now, if I heard you correctly, Martins, from your analysis, you're saying that the president is also guilty of this.
Overwhelmingly so.
In what sense? He made a statement about ballot box snatching, and yes, some people have defended him. Organizations have come out to say that the president said the right thing. So then you're saying that he shouldn't have, that it is, you're analyzing into
that is not exactly what I've said, which is why I said let us avoid, or rather let me avoid the extreme statement that he made about, you will lose your life, as a consequence of snatching ballot box. I just want
instigation of violence.
Beautiful, which is why I said if you use the word ruthless in a democracy, it is suggestive. It gives you the appetite to want to commit that crime. That is just the way it is.
Instead of it being a deterrent, because if you are being
it cannot be a deterrent. It's actually an inspiration.
X, Y, Z, you are going to be punished for it. So you think instead, the innate nature is rather to say,
for instance, like I said, the culprit is actually not the ballot snatcher, but the one in whose name he has come. Do you understand?
And that is usually the high and mighty.
Again, can I tell you something? Let me shock you. The truth is, they say that the best form of defense is attack. For instance, I'm going somewhere. Now, I know for a fact that in Uganda, before now, the former head of state called Idi Amin, he did something. And what was that thing? It was so appalling. He said that because he had been getting intelligence that Milton Obote, the former leader of Uganda, living in Tanzania, was planning some kind of insurgency, so to say. against his government? What did he do to prove that, you know, Obote had gone to the extreme? What he did was so shocking. He took Ugandan soldiers and dressed them in Tanzanian uniform and got them killed at the border. He took a British journalist to say that, no, I know this face. And when the investigation was carried out, it turned out they were all Ugandans. I have said something, which means that if somebody comes and makes a statement, I don't want this kind of thing to happen. If you try it, I will deal with you. It could have more weighty, you know, implication than we're trying to address.